Huh. Odd. Looking at this. When you're playing this composition, what are you playing? How do you play this composition? How do you think you should play this composition? Wall someone, then speed onto them. Okay. Yeah, that's very valid. That's exactly what you want to do, right? You want to wall into them, you want to play hyper aggressive, whatever. We heard your Baptiste still in spawn. I don't know how you win this first team fight, but there's no way you should be engaging without your Baptiste. No reason you should be engaging here without your Baptiste. Okay, right here. You're not shield hopping. You need to be shield hopping. You're just shielding. You're wasting a lot of time. Right now, it's very crucial that you take this space. Either you take this space or you don't take this space. And the quicker you can take this space, the more control you have over the map, and the more resource advantage that you will be entitled to, right? You'll have the resource advantage if you can take this quicker. Okay. You need to be shield hopping. Okay. Right here. You see they have an Ana. We know they have a Hog. Okay. Ana, Hog, Brig, they all have CCs, so you need to be actively looking to block their CC. Brig's a little bit harder, but Ana, you need to be looking to block her nade and sleep. Hog, his hook. So you need to always be counting those out in your head. Hog hook is 8 seconds. Ana sleep is every 14 seconds. So you need to just keep that in the back of your head. Be like, okay, has she used sleep? No. Okay, be ready for that sleep. Has she used nade? Yes or no? No. Okay, so I need to be ready for that grenade. Always keep an eye out for those things, okay? What is your sensitivity at as well? I need to know. So here, even if you did have a Baptiste out here, or Nana, or whatever, you're going too deep. You're out of their LOS. Okay. Most of the time, Baparana is not going to be up in the shit. What's your DPI? Most of the time, they're not going to be up in the shit. But so you're already out of LOS of your supports most of the time. Okay, so you're playing too aggressive here. Which is kind of hard to say as a Reinhardt player that you're playing too aggressive, but you're playing too aggressive. When you're at half HP or lower, do not swing and do not fire strike because you have no armor for protection and you can immediately get fucked if you do that. Just the lowest setting set on your mounts. Interesting, because it looks like you're fucking all over the place. Why are you backing up? Why are you giving up the choke that you worked so hard to get? Just to block a hog hook? Yeah, everybody and their mother's looking at this hog. And if you're calming with your team... sorry, it doesn't have a bubble, unfortunately. But if you're calming with your team, everybody knows the hog's up there, so everyone should be looking at the hog. Why would you give up this choke area when you don't have to? The only time you want to give up this choke area is if the enemy team has a resource advantage on you. What resources are abilities, people, ultimates, and HP. If they have more of those, more than likely they're going to win the team fight. They're going to win if they have more resources than you. So the reason why you kite, aka rotate, is because you're low in resources and you're using that time to regenerate your resources so then you can then counter push into them. There's no reason for you to immediately give up this choke, because then you're giving up your kite, which is then giving up your counter push. You can't be doing that. You basically, you need to be cycling your shit. Right there, you should have fire struck the brig. You should have swing fire struck brig to do maximum amount of damage. I don't know what that fire struck was. Your corner swinging needs some work on it. And you need to be acknowledging where this Ana is. If you know this Ana's right around here, I would prefer if you played it right around this corner. Because if Ana's right here, it's a lot easier for her to land a sleep or a nade on you if you're playing on this side. But if you're playing on this side, she has to walk either all the way around here like this to land a sleep on you, or she has to walk all the way out here to land a sleep on you. So I would say hold this corner instead of this corner, purely because of where the Ana's positioned at. You want to avoid Ana's abilities at all costs. Okay, so you get naded. You didn't avoid Ana's abilities. So you need to be, once again, focusing out on that Ana. If you haven't heard her, or if you haven't heard or seen her use her abilities, assume that she has those abilities. Okay? If you're antied, don't Fire Strike. You're at half HP. Whatever. Look at your shield. 588 HP. If you shield right now, you're canceling your shield regeneration and is putting you at a disadvantage. Just let your shield regeneration go. She's already used her anti, so you don't need to worry about anti anymore. The only thing you need to worry about is sleep. But not, by now, Zarya should have bubble. Oh, she just used bubble. Fuck. Well, I lied. You canceled shield regeneration 150-ish into it. Why? Just let it recharge. Let it recharge and then re-engage. There's no reason for you to be shielding right now. It's not like you're weak. It's not like anyone else is weak. You're just canceling your shield regeneration. Now you need to wait another couple of seconds for it to start regenerating. I don't mind you shielding when it's around 1,000-ish, but even then, there's no reason for you to shield. You messed up your swing there. You pinned too early. I'm not too worried about it, but work on that. Work on your pin timings. You're playing very aggressive, which is fine because it's just a bunch of cleanup. Trying to get more ult charge for the next fight. Shield. Remember, don't swing or fire strike when you're below half HP. Ulting. They're investing ultimates into it. Doomfist is popping off. At this point, you can either choose to sit on point and stall, sit in the corner and stall with your shield up, or just completely get out. Because you are down most of your HP, so you're basically like a little ult battery. Okay. So, you know that the hog has hook, so once again, you need to be looking to actively block that hook. Should have been actively trying to block that hook. You're lucky that you didn't hook anybody. But if this hog's sitting up mid, obviously he's going to want to hook, so you either have to shield your entire team high, or fake him out, and as soon as he hooks, then shield. But you can't just be leaving it up to him being bad, you have to leave it up to you being good. Don't leave things up to chance, leave it up to you being better. I don't think she... Doppy, are you speaking in hieroglyphics right now? You could have got off one more swing. Look at this. 1, 2. You should have just swung into that hog. I mean, it's kind of unlucky that you pinned the Doomfist off the point. But you should have just swung. There's no point of risking killing yourself there. I know that you meant to pin the hog, but I still don't like it. I don't like you sacrificing yourself there. So here's my... After watching that first round, a couple things that you need to work on is managing your shield better. From shield hopping to letting your shield recharge. Okay, so shield management needs to be better. Along with that, you need to be blocking the key abilities better. And the last thing is, you are being too aggressive. You're getting outside of your healer's You are getting outside of your healer's FOV, which makes it impossible for them to heal you, and you're just feeding at that point. You don't have to allow it to like fully recharge, but if it's at 500 HP and you cancel it at 700 HP, that's like a net neutral. That's actually net negative for you. Just friends, yes. Why'd you bubble there? That was a poor bubble. Now your bubble's on cooldown. Jesus Christ. Doppy, I have no idea what you're saying. Context clues? What the fuck? Bad bubble. Your bubble usage is very poor. Get on that Doomfist. Why don't you go on the Doomfist? What should I use bubble for mainly? What do you think you should be using bubble for? Well, I wanted to focus on holding choke. Okay. You have the concept of monkey wrong. The way you play monkey is not by specifically managing the choke. The way that you play dive, the dive that you guys are set up to play, the way you'd play dive in this situation is by divide and conquer. Okay? A house divided cannot stand. Right? So if you divide their team using your shield to block healing or key abilities from Diana, so they can't heal the Doomfist. If you jump on that Doomfist, you get an easy pick. And then you get a nice reset back onto point whenever you get your jump cooldown back. Or if the Doomfist pressures you, you still have ultimate, and then it's still a kill. So the Doomfist was free. That's an easy kill. You should have been going after that. You should have been going after the Doomfist. Even if you get pressured to use Primal, it's fine. You still get a kill, and that's the whole point of using your ultimate, is to get a kill. Okay? Or is to secure some kind of strategic value. This is the longest coaching session I've had in a while. Wild tier. Bad call, buddy. Why are you holding in spawn? Well, I mean, you're not, but your team is. Tell them to get the fuck out of spawn. Place down your bubble, allow them to move back. It's a good ult by your McCree, actually. It's a really good ult. Trying to play aggressive. Cool. No one should die to that, or that. Right? Cool. Jump, 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 jump! You threw, my guy. Doomfist right here. Using his abilities on you. Why not use your jump? Jump this way, get this mega. Jump this way, back here onto point. Jump this way, away from everybody. So many ways that you could survive here by jumping. But you don't. You making them play down to you? What was the plan there? What was the plan there? What was the plan? Why'd you do what you did? I wanted the whole team to use cover going left side, but half my team didn't follow, so it really threw... Okay. Looking at this. Even though you're running 6-man, you still kind of have a weakness to dive, or weakness to high ground, because this McCree can't get to high ground easily, neither can the man, neither can the Moira. They don't have any real vertical mobility. So, what do you think would be the smart play here? If you have 3 people on your team that can't really get vertical, what do you think is the play here? Probably best going right. Using... Okay. Uh-huh. There's 2 ways that you can play this. 2 ways. You can do what you just said. Force right side, come through here, path through here, come up here, take the elevator. Take high ground from them. Easy. High ground problem solved. Another way you can do it, because they don't really have anyone that's like hardcore, like really uses high ground too much besides their Ana. What you could do here is force them onto point. Come point, play backside of point, or play this side. I would say play backside of point. Once they drop, then you just speed on top of them. And then that's when you speed on top of them, force their abilities, and then once they force their abilities, once Ana uses her abilities, grenade, sleep, whatever, once she uses them on the low ground, that's when you'd want to jump high ground and take care of Ana. Okay? So you can either go through jump pad or force point and then jump high ground after once Ana uses her abilities. If she doesn't ever use her abilities, well then you guys just win because you guys have the advantage. You as the main tank, you call the shots, my guy. You call the shots. You tell your team what to do. Don't ask them to do things. Tell them to do things. Okay? You tell them what to do. Also, Dappy, quit being stupid. LOS. Why would you bubble that? There's no reason to bubble a Doomfist. Bubbling Doomfist does literally nothing. Hater? Fuck yeah, I am. I'm a hater potato, aren't I? Plays have to be made. You have one. Get up there. Do something. Somebody has to be a hater. I am glad that you're having fun with this girl, though. You should be trying to clear high ground first here. You had full HP when you primaled. You just wasted 500 HP. Wasted jump. You're not really in control of Monkey, it feels like. Why are you 1v1ing a diva? You won't win a 1v1 with a diva. You're playing Monkey way wrong. You're focusing on their tanks too much. You need to be going after their backline. Go after the squishies. You're focusing on tanks way too much as Monkey. You're focusing on tanks way too much as Monkey. Fucking loser. Yeah, your front line, you're playing tanks too much. You need to be going after the back line. You need to be going after the back line way more than what you are. You're frontlining way too much. Hey, what's up, man? I appreciate you stopping by, my guy. This is the last VOD because I've been coaching for 4.5 hours and I am mentally tired. Okay. What's your plan here? What's your plan here? What are you trying to accomplish? How are you going? What are you trying to accomplish, and how are you going to accomplish it? What are you going to do? Jump high ground once team fully groups up. Okay. Bubble off squishies. Okay, so you want to jump off, you want to jump high ground, and you want to bubble off the squishies. You want to bait out the cooldowns. What is that going to force the enemy team to do? Once you do that, what do you anticipate the enemy team's going to do? Because Overwatch isn't just... You can't just look at Overwatch and be like, oh, hey, this thing happened. Oh, hey, this thing happened because I did that thing. Oh my god, that was a surprise. No, you need to think about it. You have to be like, okay, if I do this, how is the enemy team going to react? You need to be already mentally preparing yourself. Be like, okay, once I do this, this is how they should react. They don't react that way, well then, this is how they will react. If they don't react that way, then this is how they'll react. You need to be thinking about 1 to 3 steps ahead. Okay? You need to be thinking about 1 through 3 steps ahead. Hey, Mentos, thanks for the gifted sub, my guy. One through 3 steps ahead at all times. Just be trying to think ahead. Appreciate you, my buddy. Okay. So, you are... Okay, so once they will peel for their squishies. Okay, how will their positioning be affected? Once you jump high ground, how do you think their positioning will be affected? What do you think they're going to react? How do you think they're going to react once you jump high ground? Okay. So that's something that you need to be actively working on, is thinking about how people will react to what you do. Okay? Okay. Well, let's see how this plays out. What do you think this Lucio's gonna want to do once you jump on him? Is he beating right now? Oh, it looked like that he was beating right there. I was like, wait, what the fuck? This Lucio should boop you off high ground. This Lucio should boop you off high ground here. Alright, he doesn't. He's a bum. So, when you jump on high ground like that, the Diva will boop you off high ground, the Lucio will boop you off high ground, and just like Mentos said, you jumping straight up onto high ground here, you should have gotten booped off. You're lucky that you even made it up to high ground, but you should have gotten booped off. Okay? So, if you know that you're going to get booped off of this high ground, what you have to do is you have to force somebody on low ground. You have to force somebody who has boop potential, probably their Diva, maybe their Lucio, off the high ground, and force them onto point. And once they go onto point, then you can recontest high ground and get on top of their Ana or their soldier and try and kill them. Because if you just jump up to high ground right now, this Diva can fly into you really quick, boop you. Lucio, all he has to do is just fucking boop you. It's not that hard. Okay? And I agree with Mentos. Once again, you have very poor bubble discipline. You're just popping bubble whenever you're just getting up there. You're just popping bubble to pop bubble. Okay? Because once they boop you off this high ground, you're gonna be on low ground with no bubble. On this map, it's a little bit different, because now you can kind of walk through here and kind of get through the bubble. But your bubble discipline's very poor. You're not using it to block off any real key abilities. You should have got booped off here, and you bubbled way too soon. Can you just soft dive high ground expecting to get booped? Yes, you can do that. If you're going to soft dive high ground and expect to get booped, you cannot bubble. You cannot bubble. Then once they allocate the resources to boop you off the high ground, now you just wait underneath of here, force them point, and then recontest high ground. Odds are they probably won't be able to boop you again. If they do boop you again, then that's fine. Then you just right back to square one. And then if they pressure you on low ground, well then you have to pop bubble and whatever else. But you are popping bubble way too soon. You are not you're not thinking about how the enemy team is going to react to what you're doing. Okay? Anticipate. You need to have more anticipation with what you're doing and how you're playing the game. Ripperoni. Doomfist got nanoed. Just get the fuck out of there. You don't want any part of it. They nanoed way too soon. This is a waste of a nano. This nano should mean nothing. This nano should be literally a throw. Just get out of there. Don't contest this Doomfist. He's nanoed. There's no reason to. Why would you bubble here? What is this bubble accomplishing here? Expecting D.Va to use micro missiles? Trying to bubble in anticipation. Okay. Even though we were just talking about anticipation for the past how many minutes, in that situation, you can't... And for, like, an ability so minuscule as micro missiles, you can't be bubbling for that. He can zap through it. Lucio does dick for damage, and micro missiles don't... Micro missiles do 120 damage if every single missile hits you, but you should have a D.Va or Zarya here that would be able to bubble you. This is a waste of a bubble. How you should have played it is walking forward, cleaving into them, saving your bubble, because this monkey just wasted his bubble. He just wasted his bubble. So now you have a resource advantage, like we were talking about at the beginning of the VOD. Now you have a resource advantage over the enemy team. You have a bubble now, and they don't have a bubble. So once you come to your team, ask them how they're all doing and where they're positioned at. Once you figure out where they're at, how they can support you, then you should be actively looking to dive on the enemy team and try and get a kill. What the fuck is this Ana doing back here? If the Ana was positioned like a normal person back here, you should dive her after once your supports get in position. You don't want to force a dive. You want the dive to be kind of fluid. Okay? You don't want to dive before it's whatever. You don't want to dive before your team's ready to dive. Just die. How are you going to play Reinhardt and be successful against this composition? How are you going to play Reinhardt and be successful against this composition? What's your plan? What's your idea? Why is Reinhardt better than Monkey here? Play Brick? True. Force the low ground is what I had in mind. Why? Why force the low ground? Because the low ground is my advantage. I would actually highly contest that statement and say low ground is your biggest weakness. Why would you want to go low ground? Actually, I'll answer that question myself. Why? What is Reinhardt's biggest weaknesses? What is Reinhardt's biggest weaknesses? What makes Reinhardt Reinhardt? Mobility. Specifically, vertical mobility. Reinhardt has 0 range and 0 vertical mobility. So why wouldn't you take away Reinhardt's weaknesses? The way to take away Reinhardt's weaknesses is to clear this high ground. You want to clear this high ground. So if you can clear this high ground, get everybody off this high ground, and now you're on the high ground, Reinhardt has no more weaknesses besides range. But you've taken away Reinhardt's biggest weakness. Right? Now you're in a really good position to be able to win the fight. Now that you have the high ground advantage, you don't have to worry about the enemy team having the high ground. So once you clear this high ground, then you can drop, or then you can hold high ground and have your team just lay into the enemy. Right? But you need to go high ground first. High ground's your friend. You always need to clear high ground with Reinhardt. Why are you shielding a monkey? Why are you shielding an ulting monkey that's not doing anything for you? He can swing through that. How the fuck did he get up? Did he rock? Can you helix jump up there? I didn't know that. You need to block those. D.Va's gonna have thrusters back. You should have just pinned her into a wall. Because you didn't pin her into a wall, you got 0 ult charge and you died regardless. That entire pin was way too long. She was gonna get thrusters back. Okay. You need to be blocking those abilities from Ana, like we talked about earlier. No point in wasting pin against this baby diva. Good backswing. Pin this bit. Now pin this diva. Don't pin her down there. Pin her where your team can follow up on it. Because now, instead of you debacking that diva, now that diva gets out. Why would you pin her down here so that you're the only person that can damage her? Why wouldn't you pin her right here so your Zarya and your Ana can both still shoot at her? Please, for the love of God, please tell me you're going to go up to high ground. Why should you play high ground here? Why should you be playing high ground here? Why? Why should you play high ground? If you don't have to clear high ground because you guys already have point, why should you play high ground here? Because they would be forced to dive me and I could drop whenever I need to, if needed. Yeah. Do you know what that would force them to do? If you're playing high ground here, if you're playing high ground, you have McCree, Ana, and Zen. They're all fantastic at range. What this is going to do is it's going to force them to use their resources to try and take this high ground from you. If they don't take this high ground from you, this Pharah means nothing. Pharah can't do shit. All you do is shield the Pharah, and then Pharah's dead. Okay? They use their resources to jump onto you. They have to use their resources to get to you. They can't use their resources to actually do damage or to disengage. They're using the resources to close the gap. And that's the worst time to use your resources. Okay? If that all can be avoided, you want to avoid using your resources to cover the gap, right? You want to use your resources to be able to get out. So let's just say monkey jump. 9 times out of 10, not 9 times out of 10, most of the time, unless if you're playing double bubble, you want to save your jump to disengage. You don't want to use your jump to engage because now you have to wait 5 whole seconds. Wait, is it 6? 6 whole seconds until you can use your jump again to disengage. So if you can force them to use their abilities to engage into you, you're inherently putting them at a disadvantage. Because the entire time that they're coming from here to up here, your team is going to be fucking laying into them, right? Your team's going to be shooting at them, voiding them of more resources. Now this Ana is going to be shooting them more. That means halfway through the fight, she's going to have to reload, or she's going to have to use her nade, she's going to have to use her sleep to try and keep them alive. Or maybe prematurely use her nano when she didn't want to use her nano. You're going to be forcing more resources if you stay up on high ground. And inherently, as when you're playing high ground, you inherently have the advantage of the enemy team because then you can pick and choose your fights. And also, once again, fair is null. Does that all make sense to you? Y'all good with that one? Was it too much verbal vomit for you? Cool. That's all I like to hear. Pharah couldn't do that if you were up there. I mean, she could have still barraged you, but the odds are you would have been able to block that barrage or whatever. You know what's funny? For this being a tired VOD, I'm putting a lot of effort into this VOD. Not a lot you can do about that. just swap off Reinhardt at this point. Ah, no, you have Shatter. Okay, so 3 things. The 3 things I want you to work on. There's a lot of things that you can work on after watching this. There's a lot of things you can work on. I would suggest going back, rewatching this VOD a couple of times. I'm probably going to post this VOD to YouTube because I agree with Mentos. I feel like it was a good VOD. So I'm probably going to post this to YouTube. So if you want to, you can watch it there. !socials will bring up my socials. It'll probably take me a little bit to edit it and get it up there. But the 3 things I want you to work on is your shield management. Don't burn your... Shield management, it's a lot of things all contained into one. So when I'm talking about shield management, you need to be blocking the key abilities. On a sleep, on an anti, hog hook, that stuff. You need to be shield hopping. So that means conserving the amount of shield that you have. So alternating between your shield taking damage and you taking damage. So that neither one of them gets too low so that you can't function in a fight. Okay? And then allow your shield to regenerate. You can't be cutting off your shield regeneration immediately as it starts, because then your shield regeneration will get nowhere. Okay? So, shield management. That's a lot all in one. And then utilize high ground. Okay? Obviously, we went over the whole high ground thing. Utilize high ground. Last thing is don't get outside the LOS of your supports, because then you'll die. Easy. Do you have any questions, or does anyone have any questions?